today. My name is Shannon, and this is my YouTube channel, Whisky. And you're watching my Knitter's Life series, Season 5. I think this is my 3rd episode for this season. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're facing the world with a smile on your face and some knitting in your hands. So it's been a while. I skipped last week because, well, true confession time, January is super rough for me. I have certain periods of the year, time periods in the year, where I get a real rough few weeks in my job. And that makes me very tired on the weekends and very much in need of doing whatever I feel like. Sometimes I feel like making video content, and sometimes I just don't have the mental capacity to think about those things. So January is one time of the year, January, September, those 2 times of the year, and then also November and April. With November being the worst. I found November is the worst. September sometimes can be real bad, and then it'll just bleed right into that November period. So I have like a really bad September, October, November. But anyway, sorry, you're not here for that. You're here for knitting. So I wanted to talk to you about my finished object. I finished Mabel Sweater by Joji Locatelli, and I am so super excited to have this off the needles. It has been on the needles way too long. I started it in November. Speaking of November, I started November 2nd, and I cast it off about 7 or 8 days ago. I've already worn it a couple times. It's so cozy and squishy, and I really freaking love it. It is waffle stitch, which, if you're not familiar, waffle stitch has you stack 2 stitches together. In a 4-row repeat, your 2 rows become 1. So because this is a rib stitch in a knit purl kind of way, so all the knit stitches get stacked and then all the purl stitches get stacked in the following row. So it ends up kind of making compressed and really squishy fabric, kind of like brioche, I would say, if you're familiar with brioche and the squishy factor. So it's really, really cozy. It's so comfortable, and this yarn is handspun by me from superfine merino that was produced by or processed by Loop Fiber Studio, an upstate New York indie producer. And yeah, it's just really, really soft, and it's very easy to spin Steph's yarn or Steph's fiber into very fine yarn. So I had a very fine fingering ply, and it self-stripes because the way that the fiber is prepped, it's prepped in a way that you're spinning from one color to the next instead of blending them together in like a hand painted braid kind of way. It's not like that at all. It's like you spin this color and then this color and then this color. And the way that the colors are laid out in the sweater is the way that the colors were laid out in the Bullseye bat that she shared with us. And forgive me if you've been here since I started this sweater, because you've heard that already about a dozen times probably. So I hope you don't mind hearing it one last time while I catch everyone else up to speed. So yeah, this is what I have left. So it ends up being like a self-striping yarn in the sense that the colors never repeat. There are some similar colors, like I have green here, and then I have a t-shirt on, so I'm just gonna pull this up a little bit, and then there's another green bar here, but it did blend with the colors on either side to give me sort of this interesting gradient. I'll put a picture on screen of me wearing it. I wore it to work a couple days ago, and so I just snapped a photo of it knowing that I was going to be talking about it soon to you all. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I did knit the sleeves like when I was knitting the sleeves, I knit a band of color, stopped, cut the yarn, brought it over here, did a band of color, and then et cetera, all the way down. So they're not perfectly aligned, but they're pretty close. I mean, that's pretty close, I'd say. And then there is a little bit, like you can see, this is not as purpley blue as this sleeve. So, but it's all good. It's all in the ballpark. So it ended up being like 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. 4 sections of like 4 wide stripes. And this is just what happens, like the stripes are thinner up here because I was knitting on a big circumference, like knitting the yoke part. This is top down, and then they get progressively wider as I knit in a smaller circumference to the point where they got pretty wide on the sleeves. It's just the nature of self-striping yarn. But I love it. I think it works really well. I wasn't sure how I would like the fact that my sleeves were going to be in this color family that isn't necessarily reflected here, but I think it works just fine. I really do. So, having a little tea in a hand-built mug. I don't remember I'll put the ceramicist artist info down below in shout-outs and mentions. I don't remember her name, but she does a lot of cats and dogs on mugs. And Ruki, I think it's called Ruki, Ruki ceramics or something like that. Ruki something. But yeah, I got this one because it reminded me of my silver boy with his big eyes. And she will do custom too. I've seen her put a call out for custom if you're interested. Every once in a while she'll take a call for customs, and she has a limited amount that she'll do that month. But it's really great. So yeah, just having a little rose flavored tea from Organic India. I really love rose flavors. I love the rose flavored ice cream that you can find in Indian supermarkets. It's really good. It's not a flavor that you'd think you'd like to eat, but it's actually really delicious. And once in a while, I just really want it. And I go get some. Because I live in northern New Jersey, where there's a lot of diversity in terms of different groups of people from all over the world, and I really, really love that. I live right across the river from New York City, which has a pretty big mix of people from all over the world and all over the country living there. And you probably saw a clip at the beginning of my view from the street I live on. It might not have been exactly outside my building, but it was along the street that I live on, that is up on the cliff overlooking the Hudson River and the city view, which is just a sense of wonder. Every single time I look at it, I just really, really love it. And I love where I live, and yeah, it's really great. My neighborhood's a little quiet compared to what's happening on the other side of the river. In fact, it is. You could drop a pin right now and hear it. It's very quiet out. We're about to get a snowstorm. We're getting a snowstorm in a few hours, I think just as the sun sets tonight. So, and they're predicting anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, which for my area, for the being so close to the ocean and to so much water, it's really unusual for us to get more than an inch or two, and often it ends up turning to ice. So it's kind of daunting / exciting. I mean, I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow, so, and if I did, I could take the bus. So I don't have to drive anywhere tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow is just going to be a rest day, I think. So rest and whatever. Cooking. Do I have anything else to tell you about the Mabel sweater? Sorry, not the Mabel sweater. It's called Mabel's ''S sweater, based on the character in Only Murders in the Building, and it's based on a sweater. Hohi was inspired by a sweater that Mabel, the character played by Selena Gomez, was wearing in the very first episode of that series. It's such a great series. It's so fun. Steve Martin and Martin Short are co-stars with Selena Gomez, but really, really kind of campy, fun, nice escapism. New York. Great. Sign me up. All right. Is that all my admin? Oh, I wanted to tell you too. I probably popped it on screen already. How far am I? 10 minutes in before I tell you. I'm on Bluesky now. So Bluesky Social. It's a new social media platform, newish. Like I think it's about a year old, maybe even older. But had a sluggish start. Some people were on there. People will double post between either Twitter, now known as X, and Bluesky, or Instagram and Bluesky. But I am going to be sunsetting my Instagram account. I'm not going to delete it at this time. I have no plans to delete it at this time, but I will be inactive on Instagram probably over the next month. I'll slowly, I haven't posted anything in a few weeks anyway, but I'm gonna be exclusively posting on Bluesky. And so far it's been pretty cool. Like there's a lot of knitters and spinners over on Bluesky already. And one of the cool things about being an early adopter is that people find you and follow you. So I've been a little fangirling over some of the people that are following me, because there's some big names over there already, and it's, and they're looking for knitters and, to people that have the same interests that they do. And it's been really fun just being part of that explosion of folks moving over there. And just real quick about Instagram, the algorithms on Instagram have been broken for a real long time, for a couple years, and it has made me super reluctant to post on Instagram anyway, just because I'm like, what's the point? I mean, I know I have people that follow me over there, and I hope you'll come over to Bluesky, and I'll probably still post about my videos on Instagram for the next couple times, but eventually, like when I see I have enough following me over on Bluesky, I'll just stop posting on Instagram. But yeah, I joined Bluesky right after Vogue. I should have talked about it then, because I was really thinking that it was a good move, and but it is really great. It's a nice way to stay connected, and it's a nice way to stay informed with sellers of fiber related products. So and I'm seeing like most of the people who I love and buy from and follow are already over there, so it's been really great. Highly recommend. Please join me. Please follow me. If you have knitting in your profile, or knitter or spinner or yarn or something in your profile that identifies you as a fiberist, I will follow you back. I promise. I've been doing a great job. I think I'm following way more people than are following me, but that's okay. All right, moving on. Let me talk about my whips. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited this is done, because now I can focus on some of these other whips and maybe get them off the needles before it's too warm to wear them. Because even though we're having a snowstorm, spring is right around the corner. We all know that, right? Okay. This is the Inge sweater solo by Lene Holme Samsoe, I think is the way you say her name. It's all on screen. If I'm wrong, there are some accents on her name that I'm not sure exactly what they do to the letters pronunciation. But here we go. I have split for the sleeves, so that's what you're seeing here. I love getting to this point whenever I'm making a sweater that's top down, because then you can really start to see how it's gonna look. It does seem to me that the sleeves are a little big. I haven't tried it on yet. I want to knit a couple more inches of the body before I do that. And at this point, whatever it is, if the sleeves are a little big, I will just end up doing rapid decreasing to get it down to a size that I like. But also, this is color work, so there's a lot of ease in those stitches right now that's gonna emerge when I block it. So Things might change a bit with it. But this has just been really fun to knit. It's an all over colorwork sweater, as you can see, with this really, it'd be easier to see the back, I think, of the neck, with this rib, 1x1 rib neck with a roll top. You knit the collar with using 3 different needle sizes. But yeah, I just love it. I love these colors together. I just think they're spectacular. So let me talk to you about that. Oh, and I'm knitting it on US size 6 needles, which I think is a 4.0 millimeter needle. Yeah, it's 4.0. Oh, and I can't remember who I got this from because I've been knitting for such a long time. I have a lot of old tools but I love how my little fox with the snowflake on the sleigh with the snowflake. Oh, come on. Matches his little red fur with his blue snowflake. He matches. So cute. All right, the yarn. The yarn is pretty special. The main color, which is like this deep dark chocolate brown, natural colored, not undyed, is from Renninger Wool Co. Renninger Wool Co. And it's her Better Together DK from 2024. The sheep are holly and sweet pea. It's 100% natural colored merino wool, 3-ply DK weight, 90% from holly, 10% from sweet pea. And there are the sheep on the label. Aren't they so cute? Renninger is a fiber maker, farmer in Pennsylvania. She's in Warriors Mark, PA. And I saw a post that she's on Bluesky too. I saw a post from her recently that said she's getting her wool in, and so her 2025 line will be ready to launch soon. I would highly recommend you follow her and sign up for her newsletter if you wanna. You have a newsletter, right, Jenny? If you want the inside scoop on when the yarn launches, because it sells out. So, because it's a small batch. My colors are from Jill Draper, and they are, I have the tag right here. Jill Draper makes stuff. It's her Windam base. This is the label for the blue-green, the Echeveria, which I think is a plant. 220 yards in a 4-ounce skein. Also American grown. Jill is a yarn producer, and I think her operation is, I don't believe she has her own sheep. I think her operation is all about the getting wool, buying wool from producers who she respects and values, and getting the wool made into yarn, taking the wool and getting it processed into yarn. So I think that's what she does. And then she has a natural dye process. So, the red, the orangey red, the rust color is Carnelian. Yeah, and then she dyes it. Her dye process is pretty interesting. She only uses red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors, to create the palette of colors that she has. And she has a really big palette of colors. And she makes all different types of, all different sizes, thicknesses, yarn, fingering weight, DK, worsted, few different lines of yarn that are really great. And she's another upstate New York producer who lives not too far from Rhinebeck. And if you ever do go to Rhinebeck, she often has a studio party on one of the days of Rhinebeck in the evening when Rhinebeck Festival is closed. You can go to her studio party, and she has all her yarn, all her products. She sometimes brings in special makers. It's really fun. I've gone a couple times, but I haven't gone lately. I haven't gone since the pandemic because she's moved it the last couple years was on Sunday night, and I went up just for Saturday. And actually this year, 2024, I stayed home because my cat had a really bad leg injury and couldn't take care of himself. So I needed to stay home to help him eat and go to the bathroom. Fun. He's fine now, though. He's not 100% recovered, but he's like 98% recovered. I think it still bothers him from time to time. It's probably just scar tissue. We think he pulled a muscle or a tendon or something. So, yeah, that is the Inge sweater. It's moving along. DK, so it's going a little faster. And then fingering weight wood. I do wish there was some rest rows between the color work, because every row is color work all the time. So it would go a little faster if there were a couple rest rows, but it is what it is. I'm very close to being done with this cowl. I haven't made a cowl in forever, like probably 10 years. I went from making a few cowls to making shawls. I discovered Stephen West and started to make all the shawls, right? And so I haven't really made cowls in quite some time. This is an old cowl pattern, actually, by Carol Sunday, and it's called something I don't remember right now. Oh my goodness, what is it called? Now I want to look it up because it's gonna bug me. So I'm gonna look at my Ravelry page real fast to just see the name of the pattern. It is, but you're probably yelling it at me. It's Bohemica by Carol Sunday. Again, pattern from 2012, and I'm knitting it in 100% cashmere from Clinton Hill. And I bought 4 skeins of Clinton Hill cashmere in the colorway Scarlet. This is the third of the 4th skein. And I think it's her worsted weight. And so I had this idea that I was going to make a cowl, and I looked at cowl patterns and decided that this would be a really fun, interesting one to make. It's pretty interesting in the way that the construction is. You can see there are these really big cables. The cables are stacked in an interesting way. You actually are using, it's a 3-part where you're using 2 cable needles to hold 2 sets of stitches, and then you have a 3rd set on your stationary needle, and you're like twisting them. You're doing this massive twist and restacking, reorienting the stitches from the 2 cable needles. I've never done a cable like that. It was pretty fun. It's highly textured, and the other fun thing about it is that it's also reversible. So it's fully reversible. But for now, I'm saying that this is the right side, even though it's fully reversible. I'm pretty close to being done. I mean, each skein is only 99 yards. So this bit that's left is probably less than half. And then so I know according to the pattern, I'm meant to do at least 1 more cable wrap, and then I think I knit about that much more, but I may make it a little bit longer because I want to use up all the yarn, because what am I going to do with like 50 yards of worsted weight cashmere? So I think I'm just going to make it a little longer. And also in the pattern pictures, I probably put one on screen already. In the pattern pictures, this really seems like it ends up draping and stacking down on itself, and I wouldn't mind it being like up to my chin when I have it on. Because I think I like to kind of tuck my chin in when I'm cold, when I'm outside, like that. I mean, mine doesn't look like it's going to collapse all that much, but we'll see. So this has been really fast. This has been a fast knit. I haven't knit it all that much. I really thought I would have it done this week, but I just haven't been working on it as much as I would like. I like a small project to travel around with, to bring with me to work and meetings, something small I can work on in an inconspicuous way if I'm sitting in an in-person meeting, or if I'm on Zoom. Who cares? No one can see anyway. So I often will be knitting when I'm in a Zoom meeting. And yeah, I just haven't worked on it as much as I thought I would. It's probably has a lot to do with the workload that I experienced, the overburdened workload I have every January. So soon, I expect to have this done next time I talk to you. I hope I have been wearing it a couple times as well. That would be awesome. Okay, I have one last whip. I think generally this is going to be kind of a shorter episode. Famous last words though. Cute fat squirrel fiber bag, bright shades of pink, which matches I feel like Maxim Sear from Les Garçons now, matching my project to my project bag. But I have cast on and made a little bit of progress on the Awesomer Gossamer Shawl by Stephen West. He's having a knit along right now. And I cast it on about a week ago. I think the cast on date was actually just this weekend, so I'm feeling good because I'm pretty far. Well, I'm not pretty far along. Who knows how far along I actually am. But if you watched last episode, you know that I bought some of the yarn that is in here from Vogue Knitting. So it's got a little bit of Vogue Knitting Live memories in here, as well as I'm using up some leftover bits of yarn that I used in other projects. So I got excited about making this when I realized that I had most of the yarn in my stash and that I could make it work. You do need about 350 to 400 yards of most of the colors, and I have one color in here that I only have a little over 300, so we'll see what happens. So just to explain to you what's going on, it's an 8-color shawl where, you know, Stephen has lots of examples on his social media and on the Stephen and Penelope website. He and his team made a lot of swatches, and you know, it's sort of this idea, you're doing a 2-color marl for each color that you're seeing here. There's 2 colors being held together, and then they're blending into the next one. So you hold like the second darkest pink shade with the lightest pink shade for the first bit. Then you, like in mine anyway, you can use whatever colors you want. You could make like a sunset if you wanted, or you could do like, you know, some sort of gradient. You're making a gradient fabric. And then like this one is holding the, you know, the second darkest pink with the next darkest, and then that next darkest gets carried up here with the next color, and so on and so on and so on. So till you end up with a really cool blending of all the shades. I am working on the second to last color in this, and the whole shawl, other than this garter, is this bubble stitch that he's put in a couple of his patterns. I actually think he has a whole sweater that's bubble stitch. So you do 3 bubble stitch sections with the, you know, following your color repeat, and then there's a border. I might just do 2. I'm gonna see where I'm at yarn wise. I did go up a needle size too. I mean, Stephen, so if you've been here a while, you know I'm a loose knitter, and I frequently go down needle sizes to hit designer's gauge. Stephen's one of the designers that I can usually hit gauge. I can hit his gauge. I know he's a loose knitter too. But I think because of my yarn, it wasn't that I wasn't hitting gauge. I just seemed to have a very fat fabric, a very thick fabric, and I think even going up a needle size, I still have a much heftier fabric than I wanted. Like I would have liked something a little more gossamer, a little more ethereal. But I am using brushed cashmere and Surrey as my yarns. So this is a Surrey and this is a cashmere. Whoops, that's a cashmere. Hi, Egg. One of my guys is coming over. I don't know if he will let me grab him so he can be on camera. But anyway, I'm using, like, so you can see there's a little bit of thickness there to the brushed cashmere, even though it's lace. It's just like, it's a poofy yarn, so it's filling it all out. Okay, maybe you saw him in the mirror just as he's leaving. I think he's bored, poor guy. It might be lunchtime, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm gonna see, this is again like just the first section. There's 2 more sections of bubbles and then the border. We'll see how it goes, see where I'm at with the yarn yields. And even though I think the size would probably be fine, I would be really keen to use up some of this yarn, or at least get the yarns down to where they're just really scrappy quantities. So that might propel me forward. Or I could just do a real long border, maybe like an extra long border. I don't know. We'll see. But I love it so far. I really love the way the colors are working together. I found I found a matching progress keeper. I never show my progress keepers, but I don't know what's gotten into me. But this is like a pink taco, which I thought was really funny. Little subversive, little funny. And yeah, I really love the way the colors are working together. I am going to show you the yarns real fast, but don't stress about it if you didn't catch them, because I'll have it down in the description box. I'm using a lot of Moondrake brushed cashmere. So this is a Moondrake brushed cashmere, and so is this. All Moondrake, and so is this. Colors that she doesn't make, like she doesn't have a line of all her colors and continue. She changes her colors with the season. So I'm not going to name all the colors. I don't remember them all right now. I think these 2 have electric in the title, electric lilac and electric berry maybe. They'll all be down in the description box. So 3 Moondrakes that I had used in a previous project, and I had extra. Aimée Kumo in her floral Morganite color, which is a very well-known popular color. She does keep a consistent line. I'm using some Italian brushed cashmere that I bought in Italy when I was there in 2019. And I have some Surrey from, yeah, this is the only one, from Lemon Kid. Her birdie base in the colorway Pop Rocks, which I do see frequently. And then last I have a unique Surrey mohair silk blend from a company called Kinua that I've found at Vogue, and she just happened to have a color that fit really well with my palette, which is this. So that is my Awesomer Gossamer. I don't think this is going to be a fast knit. It is there. What's nice about it is there's like 5 or 6 rows that are pretty mindless, where you're just doing stockinette. You're knitting and purling, knitting the front, purling the back, and then there's a texture row. So it's good for me to knit on when I'm reading something like or grading papers or things like that. So it's been pretty nice to just have, or if I'm watching something with subtitles, perfect. Easy to knit on and make. So what else do I have? Those are my whips. I have queued up a couple new whips, but I haven't cast those on yet, and I probably will wait until I'm further along on the Inge or on the Awesomer Gossamer. We'll just see how that goes. I just don't want to have to be juggling too many whips. I do like to have one whip that is mindless, stockinette-ish, or something similar, ribbing, something like that. And I also like to have a piece that's a little more complicated for the times when I really want something that's a little more engaging. And it's funny though, like I'm not a huge planner when it comes to knitting. I do usually look a project or 2 ahead. And currently I have yarn for and I have the patterns for about 5 or 6 projects. And I was thinking about them this morning, and 2 of them are DK, and I was like, probably gonna wait on those because I was watching a couple other podcasters this week, Danish Musings and Cozy Cardigans, and both of them said something very similar and to how I feel, which is I like to knit ahead of the season that I'm in. So I don't necessarily want to, like, I feel like it's a scramble for me to finish this in time to wear it while it's still cold enough to wear it. And I hesitate to put another DK weight sweater on the needles when the weather's going to start transitioning. So like in the middle of me making it. So I'm thinking ahead about like some brighter, lighter weight colored knits. And I do have 2, maybe 3. Yeah, I have 3 that are brighter and lighter weight, fingering weight. Planned, and we'll see what happens. I don't like to share my plans because they often change. I'm rather mercurial in my pattern choices. I've said this before, I commit to the yarn without committing to the pattern. It's rare that I commit to a pattern and go get the yarn. Or find the yarn in my stash. It's more like I see a pattern, like what happened with Gossamer. I saw a pattern and I was like, think I have the yarn for that, and then went that way. That's more the process that I follow, for better or worse. At some point, because I'm trying hard not to add to stash, and I am planning a destash later on in early summer, to get my current stash down. I just want to unload things that I'm pretty sure I'm not going to knit with. And yeah, I mean, that could change as my stash gets to be less, and then I'm, thinking more ahead about, I want to make this pattern, let me go get the yarn. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. See how successful I am. I've never worked that way, so that I can recall. It's almost always involving some sort of finagling, which I love because then I end up with a very unique piece. Okay, spinning. I did finish the spinning project that I was working on when I last made an episode, and it was, or I think I shared with you some of the process. So I did finish it. I have 2 skeins of this beautiful indigo dyed Valise Black Nose blend from Wing and a Prayer. So Tammy of Wing and a Prayer started to, it's a new breed. I've read up on it now. It's a new breed to the US. It's been around for centuries though. It originated in Switzerland. It's known for living in the rocky hillsides of Switzerland, and so it likes dry climate, which is contrary to a lot of the English and Scottish breeds, which like wet climate and grasslands. So that's interesting, and they're real cute. They're such cute little sheep. I definitely have put a picture in by now. So the U.S. sheep organizations started a breed up program, and Tammy jumped in on that. And I don't know how big her flock is now, but big enough so that she can use their wool in her production and her products to support her farm. So yeah, I talked a lot about the bat. It was laid out in a stripe format, or in sections by color, 4 colors. And I spun in order in a 2-ply, and then I put the 2-plies together. So what happens when you do that, like sometimes the colors will match up and sometimes they won't. So you end up with like solid stretches of color, like where you see that cream right there and the blue, and then you end up with barber pulling, like what is happening here and there. So sections that are barber pulled, sections that are solid. I did cake the other skein because I wanted to see how the self-striping was going to go. And that's how it laid out. So you can see like stretches of solid color mixed with some marled sections. And I basically did I did 4 strips going across the colors. So white, light blue, green, blue, dark blue. So that's how the colors laid out. So I did 4 strips of those for each bobbin. So you can pretty much see that, I think, here. Like if you look for the sections of white, there's one here, one there. I'm missing one. Oh, there's one hiding right here. So one here, one there, one there, one there. I'm a little sad that the green it was the smallest stripe, but I'm a little sad that it seemed to sort of disappear. It is in there. It's often marling. I maybe have a yard or 2 where it's solid green. I'm not really sure. So the other thing that I didn't anticipate when I posted about this on Bluesky is that it's a new breed, and in terms of spinners are unfamiliar with it. So spinners who have been spinning for years and years and years are not familiar with the breed. So there was a lot of interest from spinners when I was posting about it. And I wasn't 100% clear. So if you came here because you wanted to learn more about this and you're a spinner, let me share with you that this is a blend. So it's not 100% Felice Black Nose. 100% Felice Black Nose apparently is a very coarse. It does have sort of a Shetland feel, but it turns out it's blended with Shetland. So it's Felice Black Nose Shetland Cormo blend. Which makes it pretty. I don't know if it would be next to skin soft. I could probably get away with it. I'm not incredibly sensitive to that necessarily. Of course, rustic wools bother everyone if they're next to skin. It's not as soft as what I'm wearing, this superfine merino, for sure. But Felice Black Nose is mostly used for outer wear and for rugs. So I don't think you'd want something 100% fleece. It does have a really beautiful halo, which I hope you're seeing in the skein. See that? It's really cool. And it reminds me of the feel, like in terms of its rusticness. It has like, rustic wool usually has like kind of a dry hand, and that reminds me of quite a lot of Jamieson and Smith 2-ply. Feels just like that to me. I have some Jamieson and Smith, and I actually grabbed it. It might even be slightly softer now that I've washed it. When it first was plied, it seemed a little more rustic than it feels right now. I am planning to make a hat, so this will be my next small project cast on as soon as the cowl is done. So I may have some of this knit up a little bit when I see you next. And the yarn weight came out to be about a sport weight. So yeah, it should be pretty nice. It should be a pretty nice hat. I probably will make the hat pattern that I always make, which is the Manhattan hat by Toru. Tends to be the one that I gravitate towards, and I really like. I like the way it fits. It's really comfortable. All right, my little guy is getting pretty rowdy. I think it's food time for him. I did start another spinning project, which I'll share with you next time. It's on my spinning wheel right now. It's a 3-ply, really beautiful, just amazing. I'm already like thinking about what it is I'm gonna make with it. We'll see. But do I have anything else? I don't really have anything else to share. Oh, wait, one quick thing. My kitchen renovations are coming along. The progress towards beginning the process of renovating the kitchen is coming along, and I had mentioned this at the beginning of the year, and people said that they were interested, so just to share this with you, I recently moved to my apartment. I've lived here. I got him, guys. I got him. I moved here in 2023, in the summer of 2023, so it'll be 2 years when we hit June. And my kitchen is very run down. It's old. It's probably been the same kitchen since the 1980s. That would be my estimate. And I know nothing was done since the woman who bought the apartment in early 2000s. I know she did nothing. She did nothing on the whole place. Like, she just lived here and didn't really do any maintenance or any upgrades. And look, he's such a cuddle buddy. I just love it. Just snuggles up. Snuggly. So anyway, I talked to my financial guy. I got a chunk of change out of my investments to do the renovation. That money came this week, and now I'm meeting the contractor next week, and we'll see what happens. I could be starting the renovations probably pretty close to when I podcast again. We'll see, or record again. We'll see what happens. It may not be that fast. I'm thinking it's probably a month away, which actually, if it aligns with my spring break, if the demo of that kitchen aligns with spring break, that would be ideal, because then I could, all right, you need to get down. I get it. So yeah, I'm anxious for all the details, and I'll share what I can, or I'll share the salient points. I don't know if you want to hear all the stuff, but I will do a little, if you're interested, and I'll leave it at the end. So if you're not interested, it's easy to skip. But in the upcoming videos, when the renovations are underway, I'll do a little like before, kind of this is what I'm planning, and then some progression as it goes. And maybe over the course of like 3 episodes, that work will be done. I think it should be about 6, maybe 8 weeks. But yeah, I'm excited. That kitchen is rough. It'll be fun to have a fresh new kitchen. It'll just make the whole place feel more luxurious, I think. Because right now it has other than the kitchen, the apartment feels really cool and it's a great space. But the kitchen is just really anyway. All right, cool. I hope you're well. And I hope you have a great couple weeks, and I will see you again. Hope to see you on Blue Sky, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.
Thank you.